Hello traders, Damien here. Just wanted to make the post-session review video for today. Today is Thursday, July 25th, and we had one entry today, one trade, very difficult market to trade, 59 points of profit, and it made a significant impact on the recovery efforts from the drawdown. Let me bring in the spreadsheet first. Let me bring in the account first so that we stay transparent here. 295, 295, okay, 295. These are after the adjustments. Okay, so you can see it says 444.63, 444.30. We're off by a couple cents. That will adjust once the settlement comes in. And we're almost back to that 4,500. As soon as we get above that, I'm gonna go back to 2 contracts, as that is my threshold for dropping down. And I decided to start with 2, and we stayed at 2 until we fell below 4,500. But as you can see, the power of risk reward. We had one trade that was a winning trade that produced $295 worth of profit, which literally almost erased these last 2 days. Wiped out the first one here. I mean, so no matter how you look at it, one winning trade erases losing days. So that's the importance. It erased this one if it would have standalone, erased this one if it would have standalone, and erased this one if it would have standalone. And all those trades have multiple trades. To have one trade take away that many losers is tremendously empowering and should help you understand and focus on risk reward. You have to give your trades room to develop and room to move, and you need to develop a trailing strategy that helps you capture those extended profits. Okay, having that situational awareness, understanding what the market is working towards, understanding those harmonic targets is very, very important to maximize the efficiency of your trading and of your account. Okay, this is what it's all about. That's why the losses don't matter. To have one trade do this much recovery is tremendously empowering, to say the least, and something that you all should strive for in your tradings, to make sure that risk reward is there. Make sure you maintain that emotional component, to not take those quick 30 points because you're trying to recover, to not take on this trade because there may be more risk than there should be. If that trade is in your trade plan, you need to take that trade. Okay, and your trailing strategies need to be implemented so that you can maximize that risk reward, and you can recover quicker. Because if I would have been emotionally charged and saying, my trade is struggling at plus 20 or plus 30, and this is good because I lost X amount yesterday and the day before, or since I started the account I've had more losing days than winning days, then I wouldn't have had an outcome like this. And this is what it's all about. This is what makes me say the losses don't matter. It's not about the losers. It's not about the last trade. It's about that next trade and implementing your rules and following your trade plan, because that's what's going to recover any drawdown in the most efficient way possible. And that's following your trade plan and following your money management rules. Enough on that. Let's get into the chart. Oh, I also forgot to tell you. I also got filled on my longer term entry. I got filled at 0.90 here with 100 contracts, and I'm not going to give this one too much room. I know the risk reward is upside down, but because it's late in the evening and because tomorrow is Friday and I'm expecting this area to possibly hold, I'm just not going to give this one a lot of room here and just take the quick profit heading into the weekend, heading into Friday. If this does fill overnight, if it doesn't, then I'll implement some aggressive trade entries here at key levels to try to get out of this trade before the end of the close with on Friday with some profit. So we'll let it run overnight. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. May have to do some aggressive rescues here to make sure I don't keep this trade open over the weekend with so much risk to the downside here. These areas have held well. All of the buying from this area has produced tests of the highs. So I'm feeling pretty good that the buyers may be able to at the very least get to this level right here. That's right before the heavy selling took place up here, up here, up here, and all over here. We should be able to at the very least to test that. At least I'm hoping we do. But for the now, we're just going to keep it open, and we're gonna monitor it. All right. So we got to get rid of this. Let me minimize that. All right, so getting to the market today, and the market looked very, very bullish overnight. In fact, it was unfortunate that I didn't have the margin to hold this trade. It would have been an amazing winner, and it would have completed the bat and all that good stuff, and would have we would between these two trades would have recovered the drawdown. But it is what it is, and we're not here to say woulda, shoulda, coulda. That's fantasy land, and we are in the reality component of this. All right, so enough on that. Now we have to say, okay, so what's the current state, and what is the main swing here? So we see we have a clear high, clear low, and the market clearly broke above this here. So now we have to ask ourselves, did we have a proper correction from what is the main swing? We don't know what the main swing is until we get a 38% retracement. We already covered that um, in the bonus lesson yesterday. So we have a properly formatted main swing with a proper correction, and then another new structure high off of a very weak correction here to the 38%. Market tested these market highs up here, and then the market very quickly and very aggressively sold off. Okay, so we've had an expectation failure here, and we have price come here. So now we have what? An expectation of continued price action to the downside. So, okay, so not only could the market not correct very far, but it didn't correct to these stronger structure areas here. So the very, very strong selling here, and the market produced another move to the downside. So can we start using harmonics? And well, we need to see what's playing out, right? What is the market working towards, and what order flow is being respected from a harmonic point of view? Okay, we can take this and let's draw 3 lines here. We can see that the market is somewhat respecting those little swings there pretty closely here. So we have a 3 drives to the downside, no proper correction on any of these. None of these swings went to the 38%. That one just barely hit. So this one did hit, okay? And this one, that's right, I remember that. Yeah, I did check that earlier. The price did hit that and then started coming up. So since this one produced a proper correction, I was looking to trade this one short, and I needed a confirmation. Okay, so because price overall did not hit a 38% correction, and this one did hit a proper correction, we cannot say that this is a main swing. It's a main swing of something smaller, but it's not the main swing of what the market is producing, because that started here, and we haven't had a proper correction there or here, and we did achieve it here, okay, off of this main swing, okay. But there was something that caught my eye when I was looking to get short. One, I needed to have a risk reward that was worth the entry. Two, I needed to have something that qualified. So I had a smaller swing that qualified, and I felt confident enough that wherever I took this short, okay, my stop was definitely not going to be up there because the account can't withstand that. But I felt confident in such a bearish market where the market had barely been able to correct, that at the very least we had a proper correction of something smaller with huge projection and equal momentum that we're probably going to get not a very good correction. So what I did want is I did want price to get as deep to this as possible, and I knew that my stop had to be at least around 212 because of this little area here, where the market did sell aggressively. I knew my stops needed to be above those 2 areas, and I saw enough selling absorption here that I felt good about, price. Number one, I wasn't even expecting price to get up here. I was contemplating having to take an entry down here, but the risk reward was not there. So drilling into this a little bit, and what prompted my short was that down here we had the buyers find support, and here we had the sellers find some resistance here and here, and price started moving up, and then we had a good correction. Okay, so that prompted me to say, well, I either missed my entry here because I was looking for a trade in here in light of the bigger picture and the risk reward. I might have missed something here, but once price came here, found support and started moving up, okay, then I immediately thought, well, what is the market working towards now from a complex correction standpoint? Okay, that is up here, which is above where my my entry should be and where I would want my entry to be. Okay, so what sparked my interest to get in this, and how I used the area of interest to my advantage was, sorry, let me make this fatter so you can see. Okay, so on the way up here, we see pretty good buying candles, right? We don't see that many selling candles coming in, right, overall. But the candles overall, when you look at their range, a lot of these candles are what? Small, right? What does that mean? That means selling. The sellers are selling into this move. The sellers are selling into this area, okay? And then we see what? We see the buyers go ahead and win here. Then we see the buyers try to come in here and what? They get absorbed. The buyers try to come in here and they get absorbed. Okay, that's what made me think I might have missed my trade, right? But then price came back up here. Look, sellers are still in here. Sellers, sellers, selling, and then the buyers are trying to absorb. But every time the buyers try to come in, the sellers come in as well. And look at all this up here. This is a lot of selling being where the buyers are wasting money trying to get them not to absorb. And whoever's wasting money can be moving the market, okay? Because money doesn't like to be wasted, okay? Money can't be, you can't afford to waste money in a market that you want to move. It's just not something that can happen. Two things that don't equal each other, okay? And we see a lot of candles up. What does it mean? It means buyers and sellers are in a more balanced candle, which means what? A lot of sellers are coming in into this area too. So when the market came here and when it had this nice rotation, okay, I wasn't necessarily sure that the sellers had done enough, but I did see them invested all the way up here in selling into this move, okay, and the buyers having to waste money to keep them from coming down. So I took the aggressive short here prior to the pattern completion because it was my area of interest. I did see what I want to see heading into this area. I did see a good rotation and the risk reward was there. I wasn't risking that many points. It was like 30 points considering the huge swing we had. Okay, and then as price came in here, saw the buyers trying to reabsorb this area. But what? Look, 1, 2, 3 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. Okay, still taking more candles to just correct to this area. So and the candles are also smaller, which means what? There's sellers there too. So although the buyers are trying to come in, the sellers are the ones that are preventing them from absorbing it as a whole. Then the sellers come in. I'm feeling really good about this. And now then the buyers come in again to defend these lows here, okay? And this is where I started to get a little concerned about my trade, okay? But then you consult your trade plan, you say, what does my trade plan say to do? My trade plan says to sit here and suck on it. So I sit here and I suck on it. It was not in an area where I could rescue the trade. I'm not in a position to rescue my trade because of the drawdown that we had. So it's important to understand that what? I'm stuck here. I either going to take a full loss or this is going to work out in favor and there's nothing for me to do. I can't control what's happening. There's no sense worrying about it, but I can sit here and process and read and learn, get an insight to what's happening here so I can make an assessment as to whether my trade is going to do well or ultimately going to fail. And to be honest with you, once price got back into this area up here, okay, I thought that I was going to lose this trade because the buyers came in, the sellers absorbed, the buyers tried to come in, the sellers absorbed, the buyers tried to come in, the sellers absorbed, and had a win. Okay, they had a win here, and that was important for the sellers to do that. And then immediately we get a nice strong candle to the upside, which absorbs this whole area right here. Okay, and then we get a couple more candles here and we have some buying pressure that didn't meet absorption. And then until we get to this area here, we don't see anything very impressive from the sellers. Okay, so now the sellers have to produce what? All they did here was what? Wasted money. And that's a problem because you have an area of resistance and you're being absorbed. I'm sorry, that area is expected to fail and you're not going to be able to move price. Okay, but the sellers got very aggressive, okay, and we see they came down. The buyers came in, what? Absorbed. The buyers absorbed. The buyers absorbed. This is problem for the sellers, huge problem, okay. But then we had something magical happen. We had an absorption, we had a little win here, and then the buyers started to come in. They got reabsorbed. That was a sign of life. That was the patient coming back from cardiac arrest. And then we had a huge candle here, okay. And I said, oh, it's now or never. Okay, this candle may mean something and it may just be an empty candle from the sellers because they knew they got what they needed and they were going to sell at a better price. In this such a compact area here, I don't think this candle was really empty. It turned out to look like an empty candle, but the buyers were really invested here. So this was their Might have been the Hail Mary pass, might have been something that the sellers didn't really feel like they needed to do that. They wanted to defend at a slightly better level. Who knows? Who cares? But the most important thing here is when the buyers came in on this one, they came up, the sellers came in to try to absorb it. And then the next candle they did. And this is where they got the win. Okay, being able to close below that area. Okay, look at this little area here. Buyers came in. Look at this area here. Buyers come in. Look at this area here. Buyers come in. Look at this area here. The buyers come in. The sellers got a good close there. And then the buyers tried to come in to absorb, and what happened? They got their butts kicked again. Okay, that was the win. Right here, that was the nail in the coffin. Okay, and then as price moved down, it became critical for them to get past these other levels. Okay, we talked about, 59.60. That was an important level for the sellers they came across. Okay, and what gave me the confidence to stay in this trade, even though I saw the candles getting smaller, which means what? Buyers coming in, is that the fact that the buyers never really produced any absorption, never got anything going here. They wasted all their money up here. Okay, so now they're in trouble. Okay, and I didn't see anything significant here at the levels where I should have gotten it. However, I did get one a little lower, and I was okay with that. And as price came down and price tried to come up, you see price respected all the other levels on the way down. My next major level where what I was worried about was 30, 32 area. This area down here was important for me. So when price came down to the 618, I got to the break even. Okay, I got to the break even, and then I aggressively started trailing because it was already close to 12 o'clock and I needed to go pick up my daughter, and I didn't want to have all that profit go back and leave the trade unattended. Okay, so I made a command decision. I was literally trading the pattern anyway, so I said, you know what, I was going to leave my profit target there, just see whatever happens. But price started moving efficiently in favor, and I saw this area down here where the buyers just were, they didn't allow the sellers to get past. I knew this area was going to hold to some extent, so, or felt the area was going to hold to some extent. So I had this rectangle there, and as price got closer, started trailing on decision candles, and I got taken out for 59 points, which was a nice win. But that's what caused the trade management. That's what caused me to enter. That's the transition that I saw, and the transition of power from a buying market back to a selling market. The surrender and the kiss of death right here, to push price lower. As you can see how I was able to tell that the sellers were coming into the market, and they were very invested in this way up, allowing the sellers and the buyers not to be able to make much use of the money, making it very expensive for them to climb. And when you're in weakness, because you haven't been able to do anything, you've just been destroyed. Basically, you're starting from scratch, and because of that, I felt really confident that not only could I take a trade here, that this area would hold to some extent, but that my stop was safe up there. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's the post-session review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw the power of risk reward and how one trade can make a significant impact in the recovery of efforts to get back to the account back heading in the right direction. Okay, thank you very much for your time. We'll keep an eye on this longer term trade. Right now it's up about 30 points, which is 15,000, and we'll see how that ends up tomorrow morning. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the battlefield tomorrow.